Okay, well first, my name is Mark Jackson. I've got a company called Stand Up South Pacific, and we've got a little store in Takapuna called Stand Up Takapuna. And what we do is basically a service. We provide stand-up paddleboards for people to rent and use as well as sell. I met Cam at a meeting and was really inspired with some of the things he's said about disabilities, and I've worked a lot with disabled children all over the world, especially at the Wilson Home, where I started very early as a Takapuna Grammar School student, bringing another student, so from the Wilson Home, to our school. One of the things I want to mention quickly as you look at the pictures, think differently, changing attitudes and behaviour towards disabled people. I like to think of it a little bit more, or inclusive of, from disabled people, and that's what I want to talk about. That's a paddleboard over there, that's a racing one. It's red, so it goes faster. And what we want to do is show the disabled people that stand-up paddling, the reason it is so popular is it's so easy, and it's easy and accessible for everyone. And I saw a lot of wheelchairs when I came in here, and I thought, you know, I'd like to do a count on them, because I'd like to see how many of those people in wheelchairs would actually think about putting that wheelchair on a stand-up paddleboard and trying it, because it can be done. We have huge wheelchairs, with huge stand-up paddleboards that can fit a wheelchair. So that's part of my goal. And the pictures that you see rotating are just pictures of where we work. This is Takapuna, and you can see how glorious and flat it is, how easy it would be to get on a board and paddle with just about any disability. I want to mention a little bit about what we did with the Wilson Home, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. Russell Ness, the director of the Wilson Home, who will follow me in speaking, was gracious enough to trust me with his children, and I'm sure he looks at them that way, and we had a great time. We didn't set any big goal, it's just to come and play on the water. So these disabled children that came from the Wilson Home to come and play just did what they wanted to do. Some of them, for example, just wanted to get on the board, sit on the board, and jump off the board. So it wasn't so much about stand-up paddling as it was to get children into the water, which I think is a great healer. That picture there is of me riding in Hawaii with a young child. That's myself and my son. I just think the water is such a neat healing thing. And that's why I think stand-up paddling, which is so popular right now, is a great thing to introduce to people with disabilities. I think the sport itself is a little expensive for people to get into, and that's why I want to offer, especially through the Wilson Home, the opportunity for children to come with their caregivers and their parents and meet us and just get on the water and have a little play. We called it simply the Paddle Play Day. I think it was very, very successful. There were times when it brought me to tears with little kids carrying them up the beach after they'd had their paddle. Somewhere within this rotation of pictures, you'll see one of the volunteers paddling with two disabled children on a big, giant paddleboard. The only problem we had when we began the first Wilson Home Trust Paddle Play Day was volunteers. We had way too many, and I thought that was fabulous. The way I tend to do things is quite often off the cuff, and I had waited too long to ask for volunteers. I think I asked for them on Friday night for Saturday morning. We were flooded. And that's the neat thing about how people see the community with disabled people. I got more of a kick out of it than I think the kids did. And so this is just some pictures of classes that we do, and you can see how flat the water is. That yellow board that I'm talking about in particular could take about 4 children and an adult very safely and very easily. This is the Wilson Home Paddle Play Day. You can see we had them in life jackets. This is one of the volunteers, Andrew, who works in Takapuna. And again, volunteers were that was the only problem we had. There was so many of them. The thought of using a paddleboard, if you're wondering how difficult it might be, any one of you can do it almost immediately in flat water. So for disabled people, it's not that much of a step up in an achievement level from someone without disabilities. For example, there we are showing off again on a particular day in Hawaii where I did some work with carrying a girl on my shoulders, standing room only. It's sort of a little line we gave for seeing how many kids we could just put on a board on the beach, protected behind the rocks there. And again, it's just playing. It's just a paddle play day. one of the other things that I wanted to say was that when Cam first introduced the introductory statement where he said, enjoy the little things in life because they become the big things. I thought that's so poignant. I enjoyed the day doing stand-up paddling with the kids of the Wilson home. And as I look back on it now, I look at it as one of the big things. I mean, it gave me some big feelings. It reminded me of big brothers, big sisters who I worked for in Hawaii. My son is the little kid in the middle there with two other little kids, so I do use cheap labor. I pay him a can of spaghetti and he'll do that. That particular young lady is standing on a very rare type of stand-up paddleboard, and it is a multi-hull, as you can see. That's my wife showing off that she can do hula hoop on a stand-up paddleboard. And below it, that's an aerial picture of a day that I was racing in Hawaii. Just showing you, the slides aren't that clear, but that was a beautiful turquoise water backdrop. And don't forget Takapuna itself, Takapuna Beach and the Waitemata Harbour give us a pretty good and safe place to take disabled children and give them that experience. I don't think that something like that can be done with disabled children, and we did it on the Wilson Home Paddle Play Day. We took two children on a stand-up paddleboard, there they are, right here, if I just can come across for a minute, and rode waves. Russell might remember the names of these two children, I don't, but their smiles told it all. They had a great day. That shows you again how stable the board is. There's a man with two hunting dogs and two pigs on the front, so come and try it.